The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the top stories of the hour. The Asian Development Bank expects the domestic economy to grow moderately in 2023 from last year's better than expected numbers. But the ADB says the country's GDP will remain on, quote, a healthy expansion mode despite inflationary pressures. In the latest edition of its Asian Development Outlook, the Manila-based lender forecasts the Philippine economy to grow by 6% this year, climbing further by 6.3% in 2024. The ADB says rising domestic demand, sustained expansion in the manufacturing sector, and recovery in services such as tourism and retail trade will support growth. The ADB also says that the country is on track toward its goal to become an upper middle income country. However, the lender warns that risks coming from geopolitical tensions slow down in major advanced economies and persisting inflation could dampen growth. Local airlines are now preparing for the influx of passengers during the Holy Week. Philippine Airlines, for one, expects the number of passengers to increase by around 15%. The flag carrier said it may even exceed pre-pandemic levels due to a surge in revenge travelers.
Even before the Holy Week, full manning na po tayo, Aljo. We have 40 counters in the north wing of T2 and 40 counters in the south wing of T2. So full manning na po tayo. And that is the same situation sa Terminal 1. So ngayon po na peak season, handang-handa na po ang ating airport team to meet passenger demand. Patuloy po ang pakikipag-ugnayan ng Philippine Airlines sa ating mga stakeholders in the industry.
Meanwhile, Cebu Pacific reminded passengers that snub-nosed dogs are not allowed in flights. These are breeds with shortened muzzles and noses, which make them prone to respiratory issues.
Diba sikat ang dog breed na Shih Tzu, diba? But we don't encourage or hindi namin tinatanggap yung mga snub-nosed animals sa cargo kasi nahihirapan silang huminga. Ngayon, kung therapy dog naman po yung isasama nyo sa biyahe, meron po tayong mga requirements dyan. And you have to do these bookings really ahead para po maging maayos yung proseso.
The PNP has placed all police units under heightened alert for law enforcement and public safety operations during the Holy Week. PNP units will be under heightened alert until 8 a.m. of April 11. During the Holy Week, all duty personnel have been directed to deploy at all places of convergence, including transport hubs, places of worship, beaches or resorts, markets, leisure parks, and malls. Police regional offices and National Operation Support Units are ordered to, quote, execute extreme caution and preempt any enemy atrocities. They are also given discretion to raise their alert level depending on the prevailing situation in their respective areas of responsibility. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on the One News. Castro. With passenger volume expected to surpass 1 million for the Lenten season, airport authorities have begun gearing up to ensure that their travel experience would be smooth. For more details, we have Dave Abuel reporting live from the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Dave, how are airport authorities preparing for the passenger rush, which is expected for the Holy Week break?
Diego, this Tuesday, the Office of the Transportation Security held a send-off ceremony to its personnel here at the Terminal 3, just in time for the influx of passengers for the Holy Week break. The ceremony was graced by personnel of the OTS, as well as the Philippine Coast Guard officers and employees from the Manila International Airport Authority, or MIAA, as travelers who are tasked to be placed at strategic areas at the airport as people are expected converge at NAIA this Holy Week. MIAA General Manager Cesar Chong says that they will ensure that travelers will experience a swift passenger experience not only during the long break but the entire year. He is hoping that no untoward incidents will be reported this Lenten season. This is also what PNP ABSE Group Director Jerry Berries hopes to achieve as they commit to ensure security of passengers going home. Airport authorities earlier said they expect 1.2 million passengers at the NAIA for the Lenten season. According to authorities, while they prepare for the travel rush during the Holy Week every year, this year will be different as there will be a coordinating center to address passenger concerns. Diego, according to these agencies, they are looking forward to serve the general public this Holy Week. As of now, the situation here in NAIA Terminal 3 starts to pack up, and at least here are at least at the counter as the counter starts to line up. Diego.
Thank you for those updates. Dave Abuel reporting live from NAIA. The National Water Resources Board says it is still reviewing the request to increase water allocation from the Angat Dam. The board says it is open to the request of the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System to increase water allocation to 52 cubic meters per second. This MWSS says water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water sought its help for a bigger allocation to reduce service interruptions during the dry season. The board approved to increase the allocation to 50 CMS from April 1 to 15, after earlier reducing it to 48 CMS. The NWRB says it must consider the situation of the Angat Dam, the impact of higher allocation, and the upcoming El Nino. The board, however, assures that the Angat Dam's water reserves are still normal.
This is around 10 meters below the normal high water level, but still, no, we consider this level as within the normal operating of the dam. However, considering that Pag-asa already advised, there is an advisory that there might be the possibility of an El Nino, then we might have to consider this sort of projections by Pag-asa and try to manage supply so that by the second half of this year, we still have sufficient supply for Metro Manila as well as for irrigation.
Experts fear that the oil spill from the sunken tanker MT Princess Empress could possibly reach Coron, Palawan. This is based on a satellite image generated by the USS National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration on April 2. The suspected oil slick is estimated to reach up to 60 kilometers, but the Philippine Space Agency clarifies that the map and the possible oil leak are still subject to field validation. The COVID-19 pandemic has upended a multi-billion-dollar international student market globally. Now, universities are in a race to recapture international students while looking to strike a balance between generating revenues and safeguarding academic standards. The full story courtesy of Bloomberg Quick Take.
International students are racing back to universities, especially in top destinations like the US, the UK, and here in Australia. Last month, 143,000 students returned to campuses in this country. This comes after 3 years of turmoil after borders were shut due to the pandemic. Universities worldwide were hit hard as international student numbers dropped and revenues were decimated. The snapback has been faster than anyone has expected. In the US, new enrollments have already returned to pre-pandemic levels, and the economic benefits are huge. At their 2019 peak, education exports generated billions of dollars to the economies of choice destinations, with US universities generating up to $44 billion. But with inflation running high in several countries, observers are worried about the strain an influx of students will add to economies.
In the past few years, we could rent a house with like 200 or 300, but it's up to 700 or 800 in this year.
Meanwhile, the university workforce is still recovering from job and pay cuts imposed during the pandemic. International education will continue to underpin the business models of universities, but it's yet to be seen whether they've learnt the dangers of over-relying on foreign students to generate revenue.
What we really need is for universities to come out from under the grip of the market. Well, I mean, education is a human right. It shouldn't be treated as a commodity.
And that's it for this hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.